Good morning. Welcome to AGB Art. In today's video, I'll be attempting to answer a couple of questions. Which is better to use, craft paint or tube paint? Which one creates better cells? Which ones have better color? These are the paints I will be working with today. The tube paints I bought at Michael's, but you can also get them online. And the apple barrel paints came from my local Walmart store. Here are the colors. I've got a purple, a bright blue, and a turquoise in the tube paints. And then I tried to match the same colors in the apple barrel colors. Apple barrel paints are widely sold at dollar stores, Walmarts, and they're also in the art stores and online. They're made to paint raw wood surfaces. They're really not made for canvases. In my last video, I toured my local dollar store and showed you items that you can buy for your acrylic pouring. These are two 8x10 wrapped canvases that I will be using in my experiments today. Here is the view on the back. I compared the canvas with another canvas that I bought at Michael's. The one that is wrapped in plastic is the dollar store canvas. And you can see they're really the same depth. This is the back of the Michael's canvas, and this is the back of the dollar store canvas. I'm continuing to use inexpensively bought items. This is a grocery store brand of the cardboard Dixie cups. Now this is a digital food scale that I bought on Amazon, did not come from a dollar store, and I will be using it to adequately measure my paints. I'll also be using popsicle sticks and American Floetrol that I bought at a hardware store. I'm using the American Floetrol and water as my pouring medium, and my ratio is 1 part paint to 2 parts Floetrol, and then I'll add some water so that all of the paint's the same consistency. This is the easiest way to measure the paint. I put the cup on the scale and then clear the scale with the tare button. Then I put the paint in, and you can see I got 14 milliliters of paint. I clear the 14 and know in my head that I need to add 28 to get my pouring medium of 1 part paint to 2 parts Floetrol. The number I'm trying to reach is 28. I'm going to show you how to do that again. Clear it with the tare, put the cup on, and get the number. Then I clear it, and I double that number in my head, and I know exactly how much Floetrol should be in that cup. I had 9 milliliters of the turquoise, and so once I cleared the scale, I know that I need to get to 18 with the Floetrol. And I'm trying to be very specific because this is an experiment. I'm stirring up the craft paints to start with. I worked a long time with craft paints in Dutch pours, and one of my biggest disappointments that I found was that when you mix it with Floetrol, the Floetrol's white, and so when you put white in with the color, it makes the color lighter. And in a minute, I'm going to show you the purple bottle top, but you'll see that the difference between the two colors is very slight. And I'm sorry for being out of camera. There it is. It's a very slight difference. I'll show you again with the turquoise. Here's the bottle top, and here's the mix. It's a difference. And because colors are the best part about these kinds of paintings, I want the colors to be true. Now I'm mixing up the tube paint, and I'm seeing that it's incredibly thick. I end up doing an awful lot of mixing of the tube paints, and I add a lot of water so that I can get the same consistency. Off to the right-hand side, you can see where I did a card test, and those drips that didn't move, those are the tube paints. And I'm trying to get both sets of paints to be about the same consistency. So this is taking a lot of mixing of water. One of the reasons why it's taking a lot of mixing is that you don't need as much tube paint mixed in with your pouring medium to use in acrylic pouring. So because you don't need as much paint, you don't have to buy it as often, and ultimately it is a money saver. On alternating weeks, it seems Michael's has their paints on sale, and then the following week, Hobby Lobby has their paints on sale. I'm redoing the card test now, and these are the tube paints. I've had to double up the cups because there's a lot of water and Floetrol in the cups. I'm putting dots of paint in a row, and I'm checking to be sure the tube paints have the same consistency. I tilt the card, and I note right away the purple isn't moving as fast. So I know to add a couple of drops of water to the purple. After spending an incredible amount of time mixing the tube paints, I understand completely why other artists choose to mix their paints the night before. Also, if you mix up your paints the night before, the paints have overnight to settle, and that gets rid of a lot of air bubbles. I do one last card test, and I'm pleased to see that all of the colors are running at the same rate. My base paint is going to be this untinted base C Valspar, and you can see it looks gray in the can. That's okay because I'm going to mix it with Floetrol, which is white. I've got 80 milliliters of paint in the cup. I've cleared it. I doubled the 80 in my head, and I know that when adding the Floetrol, I need to get to 160. The base paint is completely measured. I'm stirring it up and showing you how white it turned out. I bought these lasagna size disposable pans from the dollar store, and I'm flattening out the bottom and using the cardboard cups as standers for the canvas. For Dutch pouring, I'll also need a couple of tools. I'll need my hairdryer with the diffuser tip and a butane torch to pop air bubbles and also to help bring out cells. I pick up my base paint and I'm pouring it over the canvas. I want to spread it over the entire canvas, and I use my hairdryer to do that. I put the first canvas aside and bring on the second canvas. Once the base paint is on, I torch both, and I've set up my experimental table for you. I will be pouring the craft paints on the left and the tube paints on the right. One last torching before we get started. My plan is to pour puddles. I like to pour puddles on smaller canvases rather than lines. I start with the dark purple and then go to the brightest color, the turquoise. And then I go back to the dark purple and then the medium blue. And I will repeat that same procedure with the craft paint. Once the colors are down, I torch both puddles. Always torch out the air bubbles, and I plan to blow in a diagonal direction. Blow the craft paint and then blow the tube paint. What I see immediately is the vibrancy of the tube paint. The craft paint looks like it mixed together and muddied. I'm going to use a straw now to blow out a little bit of the paints. This helps thin the paints on the canvas, and you can bring up more cells with the torch after you've done this. Personally, I don't like either painting. I don't plan on keeping them. They are just experiments for me. I really like the vibrancy of the tube paints. I don't like how the craft paints mixed. And what I like here about this one, and I'm showing you a close-up, is the real difference between the color and the negative space. The color here and the negative space here. You can see some really good cells in there as well. And amazingly, within the craft paint, there are cells. You have to look very closely, but you can see in the turquoise, there's a little bit of cells there. Here's a close-up. It's very hard to see those cells. So here they're pointed out to you with the arrows. This is a really good area of the craft paint painting. And close-ups of the tube paint paintings, lots of cells. Remember, I didn't put any oil in this. This is just, the white underneath is that untinted Valspar base. I hope this video helped you to make decisions about paint buying. If you enjoyed the video, please press like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.